Welcome boys. Okay, in this video we are going to be replacing the valve cover gaskets on the Crown Vic driver and passenger side. We'll start with the driver's side, and we do already have the airbox and the intake boot removed and unplugged. And from here we are going to unplug everything that's along this wiring harness that's on top of the valve cover, so we can move the harness out of the way, unbolt the cover, and yank it off. So let's get her done. Okay boys, and with that kind of bungeed out of the way, I should hopefully be able to undo that and pull it free without too much trouble, but we'll see how that goes. Looks like it's going to be a bunch of 8mm and then one 12 mil? 13. So 113, a bunch of 8s. And then, since I now know they appear to be specific to where they go, I went ahead and have my cardboard here. So front, rear, driver's side, inboard, outboard. And then that way, once I pull each one out, I'll be setting it there so we don't get any confused and we know exactly where they go back. Okay, boys, so the battery died on the camera, and I was too lazy to go inside and get the spare, and I guess in hindsight I should have grabbed my portable battery pack to keep it charged. So rather than leave you boys hanging, I'll share with you what I did and give you some pointers and let you know what I discovered. So I discovered something. The valve cover gasket that was on here was actually new. It was very flexible and shiny and blue, just like this new one I put in. So I think that what happened was somebody put a new valve cover gasket and didn't replace the grommets, or did a shit job torquing them, and that's where the actual leaking is coming from, the grommets, I think. So here is what you need to know. In order to get the valve cover out, it has to come up and clear the rockers in there, and you have almost no room to do it with this wiring harness in the way. So ideally you want to unplug everything like you saw me do earlier, and then you just pull this wiring harness and move it out of the way, and then you can lift it up and pull it forward, because it's going to hang on the back. So the problem with that is, because somebody's been in here before, I think they like RTV'd this plug back together or something. I could not get this big huge black connection to come loose. Try as I might, I struggled for like an hour or more. So the struggling you did see before the camera died, that ain't even the half of it. I struggled a lot longer afterwards. So what I had to end up doing is take this loose. So there's 3 bolts here and then one on this bracket that holds this like windshield wiper assembly stuff in place. So I took that loose so I could pull up on this just like an inch without breaking it or anything, and then take, you know, I took it all loose from its bracketry and everything here since I couldn't unplug it, and then I was able to unplug these connectors and this big black one under here, and then pull and then kind of wedge this wiring loom up between this thing and this bracket back here, and then that would hold this up, hold the wiring harness out of the way. I also disconnected the power steering fluid reservoir and moved it forward and out of the way. That way I would have enough room to come forward with it, because I needed to get it up and cleared. And so with moving this and holding it and kind of finagling it, I managed to lift it up from the rear just enough, slide it forward, boom, came right out. Now getting it back in was a bitch. I actually had to have Katie help me, so when she finally got back from work, I was putting the gasket back on the valve cover, and I had already RTV'd this area where the timing cover meets the block. So you want to put just a little bit of RTV there, this side, inboard and outboard, where the timing cover meets the block. So a little RTV, and then learning from the BMW when I installed the valve cover on that, I actually put a little bit of RTV between the valve cover and the gasket. That way it would hold better in place when I went to finagle it through here, because when I pulled it through, you know, it barely cleared it. So now I had to try to get it to slide back through there with a gasket on it now. You don't want to bump in the rocker cover. So assuming it's actually where it's supposed to be now, we have successfully completed our mission. Having Katie come back and pull really hard up on the wiring harness, I was able to get that extra little bit of clearance now to make up for the gasket. So I slid it back in, boom, and then torqued down. So the torque specs on this is 180 inch-pounds. Well, it's actually between 140 and 180 inch-pounds. So I think what you might want to do is torque it down in a crisscross pattern to about 100, between 100 and 140, and then once everything's clicked, wait 2 minutes, and then do it again in another crisscrossy pattern until you get to 180 inch-pounds, and then you're good. Then I plugged everything back in, put the power steering thing back on, so now I just need to put my bolts back in here, put my weather stripping back over there, the intake boot back on, we'll start it up, and then hopefully it won't leak. And if it doesn't leak, great, I can go ahead and change the oil. And then since we know the valve cover gasket was new on this side, I'm going to assume he also changed it on that side, and he just did a shit job on the grommets. So, yeah. We're only going to change one bank this year, and then I think I'll wait till next year. When I change the oil again in a year, I'll just save my gasket and I'll replace it on the passenger side, since now I know that it's new. And like I said, I just don't think I think they just didn't replace the grommets. which is kind of fucked, because when you tighten them down to like 180 inch-pounds, these things are freaking squashed. So, you know, just saying, like, they're going to be like one-time use only, I'm pretty sure. But whatever. To each his own. So that's what we've learned. So I'm going to have to put this back together. Since the air compressor just kicked on, and then we'll start it, and hopefully we won't have any leaks. And change the oil. Okay, boys, I think everything's plugged back in. Well, I guess we'll start it and see if we're redoing the side or not. Hopefully, valve cover went on perfect, and it doesn't gush oil everywhere. Or at least start to run. But what kind of damage do we have underneath? Find out. Hopefully none. Hopefully none, boys. Please don't be gushing. Oh shit, girl. It ain't gushing. No gushing, no gushing. Alright, well, I guess that's a success, so I'll go ahead and shut it off before it ruins my RTV that's only like an hour old. And I'll change the oil. Guess I'll jack it up. I was going to drive it up the ramp, but we're going to jack it up, boys. So, alright, I already did a video on that. You don't need to see it, but that's how we changed our driver's side valve cover. Abridged edition, since we didn't get to see it all. And then look forward to next year, I do the passenger side, because I've had enough for the day. Thanks for watching, boys. Peace.